What is up, Buckeye Nation? Shane Larson here, also known as the Boise Buckeye and also known as the Game Time Guru. That's my handle on Twitter if you guys want to follow me there. Listen, this is Scarlet and Great, or as you guys know it, Ohio State football with Scarlet and Great here on YouTube. And we're going to break the breaking news for you guys, which has come out today. It was reported by SI as well as some other outlets about Ryan Day and that 2019 awards show being fined for missing that awards show because he was out recruiting as our guy, as we know it, CJ Stroud. And my conversation today will be, talking about that specific incident and whether or not it was worth the investment. So if you guys actually, first impressions, if you guys think it's worth the investment that he missed that awards show before the college football playoff in 2019, if it was worth the investment, hit the like button. Let us know what you think. All right, guys, we're going to get into it though. And maybe you might change your opinion by the end of this. Maybe you won't. So reported back in 2019, this is December of 19. Let's flash back just for the listeners out there. If you don't remember, the Home Depot, I believe, was the Home Depot award show. You had all four of the college football playoff coaches there. That included Saban, Dabo, and Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. And Ryan Day was not there. And if you remember, as I was going through these articles today as the news broke, I was listening to, or I was going back in time and listening to some of the comments that were made. And I remember when he wasn't present and they mentioned he was on a recruiting visit. And he took a lot of backlash for that. If you go back to some of the tweets that were made back then in 2019, I know it's weird, but once you go back there, you go, oh yeah, I remember that. If you guys remember the situation and what was being said back then, leave us a comment and let us know. But I remember there were some questions about like, why isn't Ryan Day here? It's disrespectful, this and that. There was a lot of narratives being spun at the time, and no one really knew what was going on, especially because you had Justin Fields, you had J.K. Dobbins, Chase Young, Jeff Okudah, all at the award show being potential recipients of these awards, right? They were some of the candidates, and Ryan Day was not there. Obviously, as we know it, he was out in Southern California, out in California and Rancho Cucamonga, and he was recruiting four-star CJ Stroud. And he was out there during that time before the college football playoff to land this quarterback. Now, a couple of questions come to mind. The main one being, was it worth it? Was it worth the investment? I asked you this at the beginning of the video. Let's talk about it real quick. Obviously, if we're looking at it, the easy answer would be, yeah, absolutely, because we have a Heisman candidate in CJ Stroud now. Like, who cares, right? And even Ryan Day was quoted saying, they can find us whatever they want. It was worth it, right? He himself said it was worth it. They can find us whatever they want. The amount was never disclosed about what he was fined, right? But was it worth the investment? Okay, if we look at CJ's stats now, I mean, he's led the Buckeyes to a 7-0 season so far this year. They're on a collision course to meet up with Michigan at the end of the season for a potential college football playoff berth. That's what it's looking like right now. He's having a great season. I mean, despite some of the critics that want to go after him for his lack of running, our business partner here, Johnny, is very vocal about his lack of running and so forth. I've been vocal about it. I know a lot of Buckeye Nation's been frustrated, but all in all, CJ Stroud is a very, very talented and capable quarterback, and that's why he's in the Heisman discussion. So he's obviously, and then last year, he was doing the same thing with a terrible defense behind him last year. CJ Stroud still had himself quite a phenomenal season being in that discussion again, right? So like first season, then this season, he's continuing on. So CJ has obviously led this team in a very good way as he's been with the program. But let's do a little flashback. If you look at it just from CJ's stats, obviously you would say it's worth the investment. But I want to remind people, we're going to do a little turn back in time now. Flashback, Glendale, Arizona, 2019 semifinal game against Clemson. I happened to be there with my buddy. We're watching that game, and you have to wonder, right? Like, and I'm not trying to like cause a conspiracy and start, driving rumors in the rumor mill, but it is worth the discussion, right? If I go back in time and I look at it, and I really opened up this can today as I was studying, you look at this and you remember all the questionable calls that came about in that game and how it was so, I mean, it was a questionable game. And as Buckeye fans, we don't like to go talk about that game. It's the game that nobody wants to even remember, or even it's painful to even watch replays. It literally is painful to even watch a replay of that game against Clemson. Being there, it was extremely difficult amongst the Clemson fans. But now you're looking at it, you wonder, Did that have something to do with it? You always wonder, like, is there an agenda that was being set? Were they trying to punish Ryan Day and the Buckeyes for having not been present at that awards show, right? Because he was out, recruiting CJ Stroud. So on one side of the discussion, you've got CJ's stats, obviously what he's been able to accomplish with the Buckeye program so far in his career, obviously worth the investment, right? But was it worth the investment back in 2019 when we lost to Clemson in a terribly officiated semifinal game? I don't know. I'm not trying to stir it up. I'm just bringing up some legit points for you guys to discuss. I want you guys to talk about that here in the comments. Let us know. Was it worth the investment? I obviously am of the opinion that it was. I don't think it's not that big of a deal. Like, you're going to find them. The Buckeye program has plenty of money. There was one interesting article. It showed the contractual agreement between Day and what was going on there with the media and everything. And that's why they fined him, is because he wasn't present and so forth. But you're out there recruiting, and that is your job. And that's what I love about Ryan Day is, like, listen, he had a shot. CJ was being recruited by a lot of the Pac-12 schools, Oregon, I believe, being one of them up there. And we had a chance to land a guy out of California. That's a huge market, by the way. And Ryan Day made a business decision, right? This is a business. And I'm grateful that he did it. I think it's showing leadership. It shows you that Ryan Day was willing to put that on the back burner. And his guys like Justin Fields, J.K. Dobbins, Chase Young, and Jeff Okudah, who were all there waiting to potentially receive these awards, you'll never hear them talk poorly about him not being there. It wasn't like they were all upset that their head coach wasn't there, because they knew what was going on, because he's a leader and he's leading by example. He's out there. He had a window of time where he could go and do an at-home visit, because that's when CJ and his family had opened up that visit for the at-home visit. So he said, okay, like, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to go do. And then we're going to go prepare our best for Clemson in the semifinal game, which Ohio State played extremely well. And that game was terribly officiated. It is what it is. He made a business decision, and I respect it. And I totally think it was 110% worth the investment, even with, let's just pretend like everything's a conspiracy, even if that had something to do with the officiating in that game, which I'm not here to do that. Like, that's not what I'm trying to be professional here and do this, but it's worth the discussion at least, right? 110% worth the fine, worth the decision. We landed CJ Stroud. He's a Heisman candidate. He's arguably one of the best quarterbacks, or if not the best quarterback, at least with arm talent in the entire NCAA, right? Entire country. He's going to be playing at the next level. He's leading this Buckeye team to an amazing season so far, and hopefully it can continue to get better. 110% worth the investment. Hey, I want to remind you guys about the 5K giveaway that Johnny mentioned in the last video. If you guys didn't catch that, go check the last video, his reaction video about the Iowa game. Go check out that last video. If we can get to 5,000 subscribers on this channel by the Michigan game, we'll be giving away a hoodie and a mug for Scarlet and Great to one of our followers. So make sure to do that. Hit that subscribe button for us. And yeah, share this with the rest of Buckeye Nation. We're excited to continue to bring you guys some content. We love to hear what you guys want to hear. So obviously in this one, we're giving you some breaking news. Ryan Day getting fined. I want to know if you guys believe that it was worth the entire thing. What we just discussed here. Was it worth it? I believe it was. Let us know if you disagree or agree here. But if there's any other videos that you guys want to see, any different topics, let us know. Leave a comment, because we're going through those and we want to know what you guys want to know, because we're all one part of Buckeye Nation. I'm just over here in Boise. I want to know where the rest of y'all are from. We're one Buckeye Nation. So let's get it. So with that being said, God bless and go Bucks. Take care.